The soldier stepped on a landmine, but he did not notice at all. But as soon as he turned around, the comrade behind him immediately stepped forward with his left foot, wanting to rush over and help, but with a click, he also happened to step on a landmine. The man froze on the spot, not daring to move at all, but the dangerous feeling under his foot made his eyes widen in terror. His whole body trembled uncontrollably, not knowing what to do, but soon a scream snapped the man awake. Only then did he realize his comrade's lower legs had been blown off clean, bleeding non-stop. The situation was extremely urgent. The man took a deep breath, forcing himself to calm down, guiding his panicked comrade to take out a painkiller and inject it. But pain relief was not enough, because the comrade was too badly wounded. He had to stop the bleeding in time, otherwise he would die soon. So in order to save his comrade, the man prepared to lift his left foot, planning to take the risk and jump over to bandage him. But the comrade did not want the man to end up like him, becoming disabled. So he decisively pulled out his pistol.
Stay alive, man. No!
The man broke down, screaming in despair, but his survival instinct kept him from making any move. He could only cry out helplessly on the spot. Although the dead were gone, the living had to stay strong. After a long time he calmed down, deciding to carry his comrade's last wish and find a way to stay alive. But stepping on a landmine in the desert, wanting to live was easier said than done. So the man raised his arms to keep balance, moved his right leg back, and carefully lowered his body, half kneeling on the ground. Then he took out a dagger and stuck it sideways into the sand, trying to pry the mine out, but the mine was buried too deep. The blade got stuck halfway down. He sighed helplessly and had to think of another way. Then the man untied his shoelace and tied it to his hatchet. Then he removed his gun strap to make the lace even longer. Then he carefully stood up, trying to hook the radio a few meters away, but just as he pulled, his body suddenly lost balance. Luckily he reacted fast and pressed down on the ground. Otherwise, once his left foot slipped, the mine would blow him to pieces. At this moment the man did not even dare to breathe, carefully holding his balance. After a while, he slowly reeled in the rope and dragged the backpack with the radio in front of him. After getting the radio, he immediately contacted headquarters for help, but the message he got was, because of the raging sandstorm, planes could not come at all, and even the rescue convoy needed 52 hours to reach the site. The man was dumbfounded. In the barren desert with no food or water, and enemies could pass by at any time, asking him to stay still for 52 hours was simply impossible. But to survive, the man still wanted to ask if there was another way, but before he could speak, the radio ran out of power and went silent. The man angrily tossed aside the radio, set his watch to countdown, then took out dry rations to restore his strength, preparing for a long battle. But just as he was about to drink water, he found his canteen was already empty. In the scorching desert, having no water meant certain death. Yet before the man could despair, a massive sandstorm was sweeping toward him, blotting out the sky. The man half knelt in the desert, watching the sandstorm get closer and closer, but he did not stand up and run for his life. Instead, he quickly pulled out a scarf from his bag and covered his mouth and nose. Then he stuck the barrel of his sniper rifle into the sand as a support, and finally he drove the knife in his right hand deep into the sand to fix himself in place. Soon the strong wind carried sand, like a flood, rushing at him from the side. In the blink of an eye, his head was buried under a thick layer of sand. He could hardly breathe. His eyes could not even open. But even so, the man did not move an inch, letting half his body be whipped painfully by the sand, yet refusing to change position to avoid the growing storm. Such reckless behavior was no doubt a provocation to nature. So an even stronger storm hit, lifting half his body, trying to knock him down. The man was unprepared, almost thrown to the ground. But compared to this apocalyptic sandstorm, he seemed more afraid of what his left foot was pressing on. Even when his face was packed full of sand, he still refused to lift his foot to dodge. Instead, he braced himself and stabbed the knife back into the sand, clenching his teeth and enduring with all his strength. Luckily, the storm came fast and went fast. Just as the man was on the verge of death, the violent sand suddenly vanished without a trace, revealing clear skies again. Having survived the disaster, the man pulled down his scarf and let out a long breath. He could not believe that such a massive sandstorm had not moved him an inch. If not for the landmine under his left foot, he would never have dared to resist it with his body. At this moment, the man was shocked to find the comrade killed by the mine had been blown over to him by the storm. Although he was a little surprised, he quickly realized his comrade carried a radio battery. As long as he could restore contact with headquarters, his chances of survival would greatly increase. So the man had no time to grieve. He dragged the comrade to him, then searched his pocket for the battery. But fate seemed to play a joke. As soon as he got the battery, he saw the backpack with the radio had already been blown several meters away by the wind, and with a mine under his foot, he could not reach it at all. Such an absurd scene made the man laugh bitterly at himself, but no matter how lightly he laughed, It could not hide the cruel reality. After who knows how long, the scorching sun left him dizzy. Yet the rescue convoy was still 43 hours away. Soon the man drank the last drop of water, but his throat still burned like fire, leaving him dazed and shattering the last bit of hope in his heart. Seeing this, he quickly pulled out his pistol and fired into the sky, trying to attract nearby enemies. At this moment he would rather be captured than die helplessly trapped here. But after a long time, everything around him was still silent, without the slightest response. The man lifted a scorpion with his dagger, wanting to eat it to fill his stomach, but staring at the bright stinger on its tail, he hesitated for a long time, and still did not dare put it in his mouth. Right after that, the man pulled out a canteen full of urine, and took a hard gulp. Though the taste was disgusting, at least it suppressed his hunger. After eating and drinking, the man pulled out a combat knife, and cut open the boot on his left foot, then tore off his sock, revealing the top of his foot. Seeing how his left foot had turned a sickly purple red, from lack of circulation, his face was full of fear, not knowing what to do. If rescue did not come, that foot, even if not blown off by the mine below, would still be ruined sooner or later. The pain in his body was bearable. What broke him most was the mental torture. Ever since stepping on the mine, he had not moved for 30 hours, plus the scorching daytime heat and exhaustion. The man had started to hallucinate, even talking to the air, draining his will to survive. Worse still, when he finally made it tonight, he could not relax and rest either, because in the desert at night, packs of hungry wild dogs roamed everywhere. To avoid being torn apart, he had to stay fully alert, protecting himself with his rifle. But before long, the rifle bullets were all gone, and while he let his guard down for just a moment, a wild dog attacked from behind, biting his calf. He tried to draw his pistol to fight back, but the cunning dogs gave him no chance. They all rushed forward, biting his hands left and right, and yanked back wildly, pinning him to the spot, unable to move. Yet even in such a desperate situation, the man did not give up hope of survival. Relying on the toughness of his uniform, he resisted the dogs with his arms, keeping them from reaching his vital spots. At the edge of life and death, the man went completely berserk, alone fighting 4 wild dogs, without losing ground at all. By the next morning, the battered man finally snapped out of his frenzy, and the dogs that attacked him lay beside him, already lifeless. Luckily, only 7 hours remained until rescue arrived. The man stared at the distant dunes. If he could just hold out until the afternoon, he could escape alive. But 7 hours later, instead of rescue, a group of enemies appeared, eyeing him like prey. His relaxed nerves instantly tightened. He drew his pistol ready to fight back, but the distance was too far. The pistol could not reach, and the man had nowhere to hide, so he could only kneel there and take the hits. Suddenly an idea struck him. He quickly turned the barrel, and fired into the sand not far away. The bullet triggered a mine. The explosion flung sand into the air, forming a natural screen, blocking the enemy's sight. At the same time, the man grabbed his sniper rifle. Through the cloud of sand, he aimed at the enemies nearby, and in just the blink of an eye, took them out one by one. The sound of battle alerted the rescue team searching nearby, but the desert was too vast, and the place was a minefield. They could not confirm his exact location, and could only circle from afar. To make them notice, the man slowly stretched his hand, trying to grab a signal flare, but the mine under his foot kept him from taking a step. Just 2 short meters had become a curse that cut off hope. Watching the convoy move farther away, while the signal flare was right in front of him, the man finally made up his mind. Even if he was blown to pieces, he would not die standing frozen like a coward. So he took a deep breath, and slowly lifted his left foot from the mine, and then, after a long while, the man came back to his senses. Astonished that he was not blown up, he collapsed to the ground in relief, but quickly forced himself back up. He wanted to dig out the mine, to see why it had not exploded, but the man never imagined what he had stepped on was never a mine, but an old tin can buried in the sand. He collapsed on the ground, broken, crying and laughing at the same time, grateful for his luck, but grieving for his own weakness. After calming down, the man turned and picked up the signal flare, twisted it open, and the red smoke finally caught the rescue team's eye. After being trapped by a tin can for 54 hours, he was at last saved.